Hi, you guys. I, I'm laughing because we have a new rescue dog. If you're on Facebook, you've probably seen me post a few pictures of Nika. Hi, Lori. She's not a puppy. They think she's around 2 years old. Hi, Kathy. But I am just laughing because I like screeched in here. I mean, I've been trying to get her a walk and calm down and me showered and watch her and make sure she's not peeing in the house somewhere, and then kenneled up and then calm down enough with something so that I can get back over here and get this live stream going. And I was just like 1 second ago, I was just laughing so hard because I was thinking, okay, yeah, everybody's always saying to me like, oh, you and Mr. Hathaway, you're always doing these fun things. And I say, you know, because we have no responsibilities. We have no kids at home. We have no pets. We have money. We have free time. We can do anything we want. And he and I just suddenly, and within 24-hour period, thought it'd be a great idea to get a dog. And a rescue dog. I know, thumbs up, because it really is sweet, and we actually are so happy that we did it. I would have showed her to you, but I'm trying to keep her in the kennel in there. You know, you got to learn your dog's idiosyncrasies, and also, you know, I've only had Shibas, which require me to be a really, really strong alpha mom and raise them from puppies and that kind of thing. And this is a little different. Thank you, Anne. Thanks for saying thank you for rescuing. Thank you. This is a little different. So I have to be firm, you know, and set the boundaries and all that, but I can't scare her. So I don't know why I'm chuckling so much today. I just thought, you know, usually when I do these live streams, I'm kind of like, yeah, I take a little walk in the morning. I do my morning routine. I have coffee. Brian and I chat, you know, I do this and that. I get some work done. I shop. And now I'm like, oh my God, can I even go upstairs? You guys all have pets, you know. And she's a really good girl, and I know all this is just going to calm down. In fact, she's really, really good. She's clearly been somebody's pet. We're just having a little potty issue because she likes to hold it and doesn't want to go outside. So, Lordy, Lordy be. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. We are going to talk today about the confusion. What was the title I put? The confusion around meeting my own needs and having requirements of others. I've had a couple of people ask me this week, okay, Barb, hold on a minute. I'm so confused now. Now we're talking about if we're dating or relating or trying to decide whether we can have a long-term relationship with somebody, that one of the first things we need to know are what our requirements are, our absolute non-negotiables, deal breakers. Hi, Julie. And now we're talking about, you know, personal ownership, not playing a victim, being 100% responsible for ourselves and how we show up. And then we're talking about needs. We're going to talk about that today, our needs and who's supposed to meet our needs. Are we supposed to have our needs met by other people, by ourselves? And then every time we're talking about any of these relationship or interpersonal situations, we're always, at least I'm going to always be kind of weaving in that spiritual piece, because the spiritual piece and that viewpoint is important to add in, but also we've gotten some, I believe, some wrong messages around the spiritual piece, which have added into a lot of confusion. So we'll talk about that too. So let me just say hi here for a second. I'm reaching for my glasses to a few people. Welcome you here. Hi, Sam. Gosh, it's nice to have you here. Hi, Kathleen. How are you? Hi, Julie. Hi, Anne. Hi, Lori. Hi, Lori. It's nice to have you here. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Lori Everson. Phew. So, new doggy all set in there. In addition to that, I've got my first grandson coming in what is now going to be 10 days, and I can't believe it. And so Mr. Hathaway and I have a lot of changes coming. So we're excited. I hope everything's going well with you guys. Thank you for all the notes about how glad you are that I keep doing this live stream. And a couple of you have mentioned that that kind of face-to-face connection here, even though it's still Facebook and it's still a Facebook Live and it's a video if you have to watch the replay. A few of you have said how much you appreciate that over like a podcast where you're just listening to it or that kind of thing. So I do too. I don't know what I'm going to do. It feels like I should start doing some podcasts or some YouTube videos, but I just really like to do this live and be here with you guys too. So I guess we'll have to figure it out. Maybe we'll figure it out together. Okay. All right, let's jump in. So the title is The Confusion Around Meeting My Own Needs and Having Requirements of Others. And what I said that I would talk about, make sure that I talked about today, are wait, what? That's something my son always says to me. Wait, what? Needs, ownership, and requirements. All of those things, like how in the hell did all of those things actually go together? And that's really the reason I wanted to talk about this today. Is to start to make some distinctions around the difference between those things and how they connect, okay? Because it's so important in our relationships, whether we're talking friendships, love relationships, whatever. Are we supposed to meet our own needs or not? I've been asked that several times this last week. Okay, I'm confused. Am I just simply supposed to meet my own needs and that's it, or what? The next thing I'll talk about is, when do we ask others to meet our needs, or do we ever? Okay. And the last is, like I said, that the spiritual path around our needs, our requirements, the spiritual path versus our humanness. How does that go together? Hi, Joe. So we'll talk about all four of those things, okay? So let's jump in. Let's jump in with the first thing. Wait, what? Needs, ownership, and requirements. Our needs. We're human, and us as human beings, we have needs. We absolutely have needs. Don't confuse that with being needy. If you have felt needy in the past, if you've had a partner or a family member or somebody sort of in a very harsh way accuse you of being needy, we could talk a little bit about that too. We have needs, and here's the really big overarching spiritual one. We need each other. As human beings, we actually need each other. We need meaningful connection. We need human connection, contact. We need love. It's not a nice thing we want. We actually need it for our well-being. So needs are normal. We want to honor them. We want to recognize what our personal needs are. And yes, as far as ownership, that's the first place we go with needs. Is before we go, oh my God, I feel that I have a need, and now I'm going to look right out there and try to find somebody to meet my needs. We always, whether it's needs or anything else we're talking about here, right? You've heard me say this over and over and over, getting lots of thumbs up on that. What we do first always in our life around anything, and so this includes needs, is look to ourselves first. We always look to ourselves first and do a self-assessment and say, what need am I feeling like needs to be met here right now? And let me own that. Let me not say, oh, I'm just being needy again, or don't let me run and try to get somebody else to meet the need. Let me take ownership of what I'm feeling and that I'm having a need here, and how I can look at meeting that first myself. And then the last one, when we're talking about needs, ownership, requirements, what? How did all these go together? Requirements are something really completely different. I kind of want you to separate that out of your needs. It seems like they get all jumbled and together, but they really don't. Requirements, if we're talking just about in life in general, any and all of our relationships, okay? Our relationship with our parents, our relationship with our friends, our relationship with our colleagues. Hopefully, I want you to have requirements. Requirements around how people need to show up around you that maybe, have to do with being respectful, delivering information, have conversations in a certain way, that kind of thing, okay? Meaning we don't have any control over anybody else or their behavior, but that we have requirements and that we're willing to set boundaries around other people. And then all of you here, if you're listening to all my talks around love, relationship, dating, intimacy, all of that, you're definitely hearing me say, as you're starting to date and actually look for a long-term partner, if you're actually in a dating situation and trying to assess whether to stay with somebody, we're definitely only doing the sorting and screening using your requirements, using your non-negotiables and your deal breakers. Those requirements are things that are based on your values, on what is integrity for you, okay? So do you see the difference? I'm pulling it out. They really don't have much to do with our needs. Let me say this. When I work with people on fleshing out their requirements, so again, our requirements are really going to apply to love relationships, but you're also going to notice that that requirements list you flesh out will be able very easily to be applied to all of your relationships, maybe just take out the sexual piece, okay? When I do that, I have a handout that if any of you would like that, I'm happy to send it to you. I use it in my Conscious Dating workshop. It's called Requirements, Needs, Wants. And those are 3 very separate areas that you can work on when you're looking to move forward to date or to be in a love relationship. And obviously the requirements are your non-negotiables, your deal breakers. And then needs are the needs that you really have in a relationship. And the way that they're different from requirements is needs will show up as issues, and then they can be negotiated and worked out, okay? So put a little star by this. Grab your journal. If you guys bring your journals here, when I always say these are the ones to write by, put a star and write requirements, needs, wants. Requirements, you will walk away from a relationship that seems like everything else is there and wonderful. If these aren't met, they're your deal breakers. They're non-negotiable. Needs, when you flesh out that list, in terms of a love relationship, looking for a partner, are things that you feel you need. They may not be a deal breaker, but you deeply need them. They'll show up as an issue, and they can be negotiated and worked out. And wants are the fun stuff. Wants are, it would be really nice if. It would be really nice if she loved to golf too, and we could do that together sometimes. But it's just a want. It would be really great if he was taller than me. But you know what? Would you walk away from the greatest person in the world if he wasn't? I mean, hopefully that's a want, okay? All right, so that's what we're talking about there, is that whole first question of, wait, what? Needs, ownership, requirements. How are all these things going together? They're really not. Those are very separate things that I want you to understand, okay? So the second thing I said we'd talk about, are we supposed to meet our own needs then or not? Yes, and so let's think about it like this. The biggest shift that you could make around needs, you might want to write this one down too. Put a little star by this. The biggest shift that we can make around needs is understanding that first and foremost, it is our responsibility to meet our own needs. To notice that we have needs. God, sometimes the biggest problem we have, you guys, listen to this. Take this in. Sometimes the biggest problem we have or we create in relationships is refusing to be self-aware, to notice, to pay attention to when we are feeling that we have needs and they need to be met. And we sort of just glaze over. And then our behavior ends up being kind of this acting out, manipulative behavior, trying to get something from people. We're not even identifying that we have a need. We're not willing to take the time to go, wow, what's going on with me? And then we start acting in this way where we're trying to get something from somebody, and it looks like manipulative behavior, it looks like edginess, it looks like victimhood. The things we're saying, it can sound like victimhood. And other people around us are going, what is going on? You're acting so irritating, weird. And what they may realize, the other person may realize, that it is, in quotes, needy behavior. You may not even be stopping to realize what's going on, and they may be recognizing, my God, you're acting needy. What is going on? Or you're acting edgy, or you're acting irritable, or you're acting like a victim, or you're acting weird, or you're whining, or what's happening? So the very first thing that we do is we take ownership and we work on our self-awareness. You've heard me say this a million times. We're growing our emotional maturity day by day by day. And the way we're doing it is by setting an intention to be self-aware and to focus on it and do self-checks, to do scans, body scans, to notice when our body has a sensation, to notice if we have a knot in our stomach, or our heart is racing a little bit, or we're feeling a little agitated, or we're feeling a little fearful. A lot of times when we have a need that we suddenly feel like we need it to be met, we start to feel a little bit anxious or a little fearful. It can be very low grade and quiet. That's how I feel it. Our job is to be intentional about assessing and noticing what is going on with ourselves. The second step is to actually ask ourselves, wow, what do I need right now? Do I need something? And here's the thing that's important, to answer it, to take a moment to answer it. What do I need what am I feeling? And what do I need right now? And answer it. So it might be something as simple as, well, what's going on with me? What do I need right now? I'm feeling a little anxious. What's happening? And let's take like a Facebook live stream if you guys are doing any of that, or you're starting to do it and you notice that you're feeling anxious before the first few times that you do it. You might go, wow, what do I need? I'm feeling anxious. Oh, I'm feeling anxious because I'm going to do this live stream or this Zoom class, or I'm going to give this workshop or whatever. Oh, I'm feeling kind of anxious. What do I need? And then answer it. Okay, what I need is I need to sit down, and I need to take some deep breaths, and I need to self-soothe. That's one I want you to write down, all of you, right now. Grab your pen. Self-soothe. Self-soothing is one of the greatest life skills that you can learn. And so you might say, okay, I noticed that. I'm going to take a few deep breaths. What I need, first of all, is to calm my nervous system. So I'm going to sit and take 3 really deep, long breaths. And then what else do I need? I need some reassurance. Okay, the first thing is not to go get it from somebody else. Not to get somebody else to meet your need. The first thing is to say, okay, well then how can I give myself some reassurance? And so you might just do some self-talk and say, hey, you know what? I did one before. It turned out well. What I know is that I'm learning how to give this workshop, do this live stream, do a Zoom class, and I'm really proud of myself. So I don't have to be perfect. I'm self-soothing myself. I'm congratulating myself for being somebody who's brave enough to just try this. And I'm just going to let myself off the hook and go do the best I can. In that conversation right there that took not even a minute of self-talk, you self-soothed and met your own need. Okay? It might be something really just as basic as you walk in the door from work and you hear in your mind, you go, Jesus, I'm exhausted and I got so stressed today and I'm wound like a top. Notice it and stop for a minute and say, what am I feeling? What do I need? Do I have a need right now? It's really a great practice to start to learn to ask yourself that, especially if you're going home to a partner or an adult child still in the house and you've had a tendency to start to throw your stuff, project yourself onto somebody else and immediately go in and try to get them to meet your need, especially if you've had a habit of that. Watch when you walk in the door from work, whether you're trying to immediately get somebody else to meet your needs instead of owning them yourself. So in that example, coming in from a stress day, you're tired, you're exhausted, you feel overwhelmed, you walk in, and instead of putting that on a partner or an adult child or whatever, you say to yourself for a moment, wow, what's going on here? What am I feeling? What do I need right now? And then again, like I said, you actually answer the question. You don't ask yourself and then go open a beer. You ask yourself and you answer it, what do I need right now? So in that example, it may be that you go, wow, I really need to not talk to anybody for 10 minutes. That may mean even if your partner's at home. Maybe you need a break. So you go and you interact, you greet them, you say, hi, I want to let you know I'm home. I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. I need to just chill for a minute alone. I'm going to go take 10 minutes in the family room. I'm going to go hop in the tub. I'm going to go sit with my feet up in, the study and take some deep breaths and relax. I'll be back in 10 minutes and we'll figure out dinner. You meet your own needs. We self-soothe. Then we can engage with others and see if we have needs that we can actually ask to be met, which takes me to the third one that I said, when do we ask others to meet our needs, or do we ever? Yeah, we absolutely do. You heard me say early on in this video, as human beings, we need each other. We really do. But the process here, if we're going to get to the point of actually asking if someone else could meet our needs, which we absolutely do in life, the process is this. 1, we make sure that we notice what's going on in our own bodies, and we are aware enough to say, oh, I'm experiencing a need. What is it? What is the need that I'm experiencing? And we answer that question. Oh, this is my need. This is what I'm feeling I need. And then what do we do, you guys? Right. We meet it ourselves if we can. And almost all the time we can in some way. Because you know what? If you're single, if you live a single life, or you're just simply alone in the moment, or whatever's going on, you have to have the skill of self-soothing and meeting your own needs, at least in that moment. So yes, we can absolutely learn this. You self-soothe and you meet your need in the best way that you can. That is always the first step. Here's the second step. So listen to this, because this is interesting. It's not just I meet my own needs and then I'm allowed to ask somebody else to meet my needs. To me, there's a step in between, which I think people miss, and I think it is imperative. We notice a need, and we meet our own needs. The second step is that we give to others what we need first. Is that confusing? If we need to feel loved, come home, we're sad, we've had a bad day, we've had a loss, maybe we don't even know what happened, but we're having a deep need to feel loved and cared about. First, we do what we can do to self-soothe and befriend ourselves, to give ourselves love and to talk lovingly to ourselves and to soothe ourselves and to take responsibility for all of that. The second thing we do when we have a need that we've identified, we give it. Instead of asking for it, we give it. So maybe then we walk into our partner and we act loving to them. Not in a manipulative way to then get it. Not at all. This isn't a manipulation. This isn't a game. This is, we always give and share what we want and need. If you want more, you've heard this said a million times. If you want more love in your life, give it. Be more loving. If you need to feel empathy and compassion from others, give it. Be a more compassionate, empathetic person to others. It's amazing. Just in that moment, without even getting to the point of asking for it, let's say you're feeling the need for some love. You befriend yourself and really give yourself a lot of love. Then you walk back into the living room with your partner or your adult child or whoever, and the first thing you do before asking for anything is you act loving to them. You walk over and you put your arms around them and you just say, I feel so lucky to have you in my life. I really love you. I'm really glad we're together. What's so interesting, you may have that need met right then, that need for feeling love. You may have met that need right there just by giving it. You may feel that love just by giving it. The other thing is, you may have opened the door to somebody just spontaneously giving you that love right back without you even asking. Because so many times what we give, we receive very quickly back. It's the law of circulation. It goes like this. It's that infinity loop, the figure 8. And then, after we give ourselves the need and meet our need, and we give freely and easily and openly what we need, we absolutely can ask for what we need then also. So let's take the same example and we go back in the living room and we give love. We come up to our partner and we put our arms around him and just say, I love you. I'm really just feeling so grateful that I have you in my life. I really deeply love you. And they hug you and they say, great. If you have a need, then you speak it. You can speak it gently. You can say without harsh edges or from a victim standpoint of meet my needs, it's your responsibility to make me happy. Not from that place. You may say, gosh, I have just had a really hard day and I had such a painful conversation with a colleague today, or such a hard phone call with a friend today, or my mom or my dad or somebody, and I'm just feeling kind of crummy. I really feel like I could need some love right now, or just some reassurance. You know, would you be able to just give me some of that right now? Could you just give me some love? Tell me things are going to be okay or whatever. Ask clearly for what you need. Ask. And here's the last little thing we need to always remember when we're asking if someone could meet a need. It's simply a request. And they don't have to meet our need. They can say no. They can say, I can't do that. They can say, I'm not willing to do that. They can say, I can't do that right now. And what do we do with that? We honor it. Just like we want to be honored with the requests that we make, or where we need to say no, or where we set a boundary. We want people to listen to us, which is why it requires that we have a strong personal foundation. Here I am talking about that again. That we hold to our own personal honor code and our own standards regardless of how anybody else is acting. That we set boundaries and say no to behavior that is toxic, hurtful, mean-spirited. And what's the third one? That we unhook from the need for approval of others, validation from others, other people needing to make us feel okay about ourselves. Can you see now that connection and how important that is, that all three of those are linked together? And so if we get to that point where we go through, we meet our own needs, and then we give to another person what we need, and then and only then do we freely and openly ask for a need to be met, unhooking from the outcome, whether they say yes or no, or I don't want to, or I can't do it right this minute. And we come back to our solid foundation that we're standing on with our own personal honor code, boundaries, and unhooking from the need for approval or validation. You will be amazed if you are meeting your own needs and giving to others what you need. You will be amazed at how your needs get met too, so many times without you even needing to ask for them, especially by giving what you need, giving the love that you want, how it comes back to you, giving when you need empathy and compassion, giving it to others and watching it naturally come back to you. And if you don't get that need met, if you ask somebody clearly if they could meet a need for you, and they say, I can't, or I can't right now, or I simply won't, where do you go? You go right back to first and foremost the beginning of befriending yourself and continuing to self-soothe and meet your own needs. And then we look in our inner circle and we see if there's someone else, if it's a need for a deep conversation, if it's a need to have somebody hear you so that you could clear some things out or vent or whatever, and you go to someone and you ask if they could meet that need and they say, I can't do that right now. I've got too much going on in my own life to really sit and be present and hear this. We don't judge that. We accept it. We respect that somebody else gets to tell us how they feel or whether they can meet a need of ours or not. And we go, hopefully we have a few people in our inner circle who regularly meet our needs. And so that's something I want to say to you. It is important that we have a few key people in our inner circles that regularly and willingly and lovingly meet our needs. That's the beauty of partnership, love relationship, deep, meaningful friendships, wonderful connections with others. We all need each other as human beings. We do have needs, which brings me to the last thing I said we'd talk about, that spiritual path versus our humanness. What I mean by that is what I've just been talking about here in the last few minutes, is we are spiritual beings who, if we want to talk about it in the big picture, we wouldn't need anyone to do anything for us or meet any need, because we would be connected to our source, to something greater than ourselves that fills us with everything that we need and reminds us every day and every moment of the day that in this present moment we are whole, we are complete, we have everything we need by simply being right here, present, and connected to the source. And, okay, this is where it gets wonky. And we are human beings here with human needs, desires, and pains, and all kinds of things. And we need each other. We are all connected. We are all one. And we are not meant to go sit on a mountaintop alone and say, all I need to do is just connect to my source. I'll meet my own needs. I don't need validation from anywhere else. I will just sit here alone and be in the world, but not of the world. We're human beings. So I hope what you're taking out of this teaching today is, yes, we've got all these separate little pieces, needs, owning our needs, owning everything about ourselves, our feelings, everything. Requirements, those are something totally different. They don't get mixed in with our needs. Those are what we value in others and how we base who we bring into our inner circles. The spiritual path, absolutely, first and foremost, understanding that we ground on our spiritual path, in our own presence, and do our own personal work. Always, always taking ownership for who we are, how we're showing up, and what we're attracting and creating in our lives, the out-picturing that we create. But we don't do that alone. We recognize that we're not doing that alone. We need each other. We need to show love to each other, compassion. And how do we do that? This 3-step. We meet our own needs first. We second give to others what we think we really, really need. We ramp up our giving to others of what we need. And then we clearly ask, not with manipulation or playing the victim or being edgy and irritable and demanding. We clearly, lovingly, and gently ask and make a request of others if they could meet our needs, letting go of what their answer is and respecting that they can say yes, no, maybe, or negotiate. Okay? I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about this, barb@coachbeck.com is my email. Feel free to send me a question. I love that you're here today. I love that you keep showing up. And as always, please do me a favor. All of you keep telling me how important these replays are of these videos. Please share them either on your page or just with somebody that when you watch this that you think, oh my gosh, so-and-so would benefit greatly from hearing this, or she and I were just talking about this the other day, or wow, this would be so great to share with my women's group or with my adult, son or anyone. Just if you think it would be helpful, please take a moment to share it, okay? All right. I'm so glad you're all here. Peace and blessings to all of you. Have a great week.